What's going on, guys? Balkan Architect here, and in today's tutorial we're going to be talking about facades in Revit. Well, I actually have a few tutorials where I talk about facades in Revit and different approaches to creating different cool facades. But something that I haven't tackled so far is the topic of adding lights to your facade. Now, I think this is really important. I think especially modern buildings have some lights included in the facade. I think it looks really cool. It makes the whole building pop, especially at night. I think it can look really interesting, so that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's tutorial. Now, before we get into that, just one quick thing. I would just like to ask you to like this tutorial. It helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and also make sure to subscribe. I make useful Revit tutorials each week. I make multiple tutorials, and if you're interested about learning Revit in depth, I have some courses. I've got both beginner courses as well as intermediate and advanced courses. All of those are available on my website, balkanarchitect.com. Check it out. It's going to be the first link in the description below the video. Okay, so with that out of the way, without any further ado, let's jump straight into Revit.
Okay, so here we are in Revit, and this is the building that I'm going to be using for the example. This is my office building project, which is available currently on my Patreon. You can get both the project file as well as 12 hours of course content where I show you how to create this building. Anyways, let's now start adding lights to this facade. So for adding lights, we only have a couple of options, well, a couple of main options. Now the first one is going to be a light element which we can add to perhaps walls or something like that that can cast light. It's quite common on smaller buildings, maybe residential buildings and office buildings as well. Now I'm not going to show you how to model that because already there are so many families like that online. You can find them on Revit City, probably on BIM Object and a few other websites. So in this case, I'm just going to be using one of those that I've kind of just downloaded from online and just drag it over here. So as you can see, this is what that light looks like. You can place it like this on a you can probably place it on a surface. Let's see if I place one here. Yeah, as you can see, it's going to be there on the wall. And of course, you can place multiple ones. So perhaps let's place it here. And then I'm just going to be using an array. I'm gonna array it along this wall, and let's add maybe 6. Oops, let's cancel out of that. Okay, I made a mistake. So when you go here to the array, make sure it goes to last, and then here for the number we can go with 6. Okay, now let's try that again. There we go, looks much better. Okay, we can select the final one and then drag it all the way towards the end. And now perhaps instead of 6 we can go with 8 of these. Yeah, that looks good enough. So anyways, we have some lights here on this wall here on the edge. It's going to light up probably the Balkan Architect sign, which is nice. So we have that, but now let's talk about the main facade. So what I would like to add here is just some sort of light element, something that's just going to light up at night, that's going to kind of contour this whole building or something like that. And for that, we have to create a new family. Now, for this type of a family, what I would like to use is going to be some sort of an adaptive family, because here we might want to place it on different surfaces, on different lengths, so it would be best if it could adapt to the surface on which we're placing it. Now, if I just go here to File, and then to New, and then to Family, something that you will notice is here under generic families, we have the adaptive model family. So if I just hit open, it's going to look like this, and this is the environment. Now I have a whole course on adaptive families already available on my website, balkanarchitect.com, so check out the first link in the description if you want to take a look at that. It's a 2-hour course where I go in depth into creating these adaptive complex families, but for now let's just create this simple light family. So what we need to do is go here to the point tool and then place a couple of these point elements here on screen. We can bring them closer. Probably this would be too large. Maybe like that. Okay, so once we have these 2 points, what you want to do is select them both and then go here to make adaptive. So once you make them adaptive, they're going to kind of light up like this. And then also what you want to do is, while they're still selected, go to Spline Through Points, and when you click, it's just going to create a spline that goes between these 2 points. So it doesn't matter which one you move around, there's still going to be a spline kind of connecting those two. So once we have this created, the next step that we have to do is to create some sort of geometry here. So we have the kind of the adaptive construction, but we still don't have any geometry. Now for geometry, you can use whatever you like. What I'm going to do is just make a little simple circle. So what you want to do is go here to set work plane and then pick this one over here. So you can see that's the one that's kind of perpendicular to the line. And let's select that one, and then for the geometry, I'm just going to go with a simple circle in the middle. Now, this is only because I don't want this to be any too complicated, so I just want this to be a kind of quick family to use around. If you want something a bit more complex, what you probably want to do is go something like this, create a rectangle like that. It's probably going to look more realistic in real life, but here I'm not really looking for realistic. I'm just looking for something to test out my ideas for the lighting facade. Maybe I can even make it 50 millimeters, just to make it large enough. Perfect. So once we have that, you want to zoom in, select that circle, hold the control key, select the line itself, and then go here to create form. Once you have created form, it's going to look like that. Then you want to hover over that form. Now, something you'll notice is when you want to select it, it's going to select only one half. So what you want to do is hit the tab key once until it kind of highlights the whole cylinder, select it, and then you want to go here to material. Now this is where the magic happens. This is where you want to make it actually light up. So what you want to do here is go to the material browser and search for light. Let's see. Okay, here we go. We have glass white high luminance, and this is the family that you want to use. So as you can see, it's kind of just completely white, and that's exactly what we want to have. So this is going to have sort of an appearance of something that has been lit up. It's not really going to be casting any light off of that, but it is going to glow in the dark, and that's exactly what we want for this particular situation. So I'm just going to hit apply. Okay. Let's see, did we manage to add that material? Let's see. Yes, we did. There we go. So we have that material, and now also just double check if you move this around, will the whole geometry move with it? And it does, so we're fine with that. So once we're done with this, what you want to do is save it. So go to File, Save As, Family, and I can just save it on my desktop, and let's call this one the light, I don't know, light family. And also, I have a whole course on light families in Revit, so that's also available on my website, so check it out if you're interested. Anyways, let's now load this into the project. So I'm just going to go here to load into project. We're going to go back to our original project, and here, as you can see, it says place on face. Now, I don't like to use this because it's kind of wild, but if I were to use place on work plane, it would probably take a bit too long. So what you want to do is here, come to an existing face, just like that, click once. Then you want to stretch it all the way to the other side, find the second face. As you can see, this face now lights up. And there we go, we have that family going all the way from the top. Next, we can go from that point, perhaps up to here. And just to give it a bit of a contour line, maybe we can go from this face all the way here. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to apply. We can go from this face down. And then from that same point, we can go all the way here. Now you want to double check everything if that's being applied properly. Now it's going to appear kind of gray because it's, well, it's kind of transparent. It's still glass, but you'll see how cool it looks once you're finished. So just make sure that the surface on which you're hosting it lights up like that, highlights. And then let's go up here just to kind of finish off this facade, just like that. And then here we might want to add one here towards the middle. Just like that, and perhaps one here as well. So we're just trying to kind of achieve some sort of a shade that looks decent enough. So let's say I'm happy with this for now. Okay, perhaps on this side of the wall, let's go like that towards the edge, and then from there all the way down here. I think that's more than enough to kind of finish this little test rendering for this building. So once we have all of these light pieces kind of plastered all around our facade, you can think of it like placing those ugly LEDs on cars. So you're just kind of testing it out. So let's go here to the main 3D view. This is what that looks like. And now for the, let's see, the crop size, maybe I should resize it a little bit. Yeah. So let's just double it down, make it a bit smaller. And now let's go to view, go to render. And then here for rendering, what I'm going to do is set it at draft, set it at screen just to make it quick for the first rendering. And then what I like to do for the lighting scheme is here I like to set it to exterior, sun, and artificial. But for the sun settings, if I just click this button here, you want to go to still, and then I like to make the time something a bit either too early in the morning or too late at night, so there's no sun out. So what I like to do is maybe go 9, I don't know, let's try 9:30, or let's just go 9 o'clock p.m. There we go, hit apply. Okay, that's still giving us some shadow, so let's try 10. Okay, let's see how this works. So I'm just going to hit render, wait for a moment. Now keep in mind that still we have these kind of street lights, so we do have that as well. So that is going to be casting just a little bit of light. And there we go. So that's our light that we have created. It does look really cool, as you can see. So let's just wait for a moment for a render to finish. We can go here to adjust exposure, so you can make it a bit brighter, just like that. So as you can see, we can increase the brightness a little bit. But as you can see, this is what that light does. This is what it creates. So it creates sort of kind of an outline around the building here as well. So it can look really cool. It can create a really cool night rendering facade. So for some reason, these didn't light up as much, so we can maybe test it out as exterior artificial only, and then just try rendering that, if that will make it work. I'm not really sure for these families, they might not be working properly. And this is what we get in the end. Now you can see the quality is quite low, and the reason for that is because, well, the quality setting was at the draft, so it looks, well, to be honest, it looks terrible. But if you set the quality at either medium or even better at high or best, you're going to get a much better result. So that's just something I suggest. So there you go. That's how you create these light facades. Those are the two options, either by using these wall lights or by adding these elements to the facade, which let you kind of contour the facade or add some stripes or something like that, which can look really cool. Now, also inside of these tubes, what you can also do is add some sort of a repeating LED light strip or something like that. Now, I already have a video on that for kind of a cool family that you can use to light up interiors, so I'm just going to be linking that up in the description if you want to check that out. Okay, so that concludes this tutorial. I hope you have learned something new, and I hope this was useful. Tell me in the comment section below. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in a couple of days with another Balkan Architect tutorial. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.